Hi guys, this is Mrs. Baum. We are going to do a quick practice on challenge tables. I'm going to explain the table that was in your study guide. So we start off with some information here, and we have to figure out what our equations are based on all of this different stuff. So we always are going to relate it back to the buying price. So later on in your table, you're going to get different information that you're going to put in your equations that we're going to create, and they're always going to take you back to solving for your buying price so you can figure out the rest of your stuff in your table. So we're going to start with our markup. So when we buy something, we mark it up before we sell it. So the markup is going to be 70% of the buying price, which you guys know, 70%, the decimal equivalent is 0.7. So it's going to be 0.7 of our buying price, and our number for our buying price right now could be any number, so we're going to use the variable n. Now our selling price, this is going to be what we bought it for, so n plus whatever we did here. Actually, rather than n, let's say our buying price plus our markup, right? So our buying price is n, and we know the invisible 1 in front of that n makes it actually 1n. So 1n plus 0.7 is going to give us 1 plus 0.7 is 1.7 times whatever my buying price was. Okay, now commission is going to be 30% of our markup. So our markup is 0.7. We need to find out what is 30% of 7/10 of 0.7. So we're going to put in 0.7 times 30%. So I'm putting in whatever my markup was times whatever percent my commission is. So 0.7 times 30% gives me 0.21. So this means that 30% of 0.7 is 0.21. So my markup is going to be 0.21 times whatever my buying price was. So again, my markup was 0.7. My commission, this is how much I make on the sale. This is going to be 30% of this amount. Now your profit, this is how much you make on the sale. This is a couple different ways we can look at it. We sell it for a certain amount. We have to pay back the buying price, and we have to pay back the commission. The other way we can look at it is we know that this selling price, we know we're going to be taking the buying price out for the profit. So we can also look at this as just whatever our markup was, take away whatever our commission was. So the two different ways we can look at this are profit is our selling price, which was 1.7 n, minus our buying price, which was 1n, and then also minus our commission, which was 0.21 n, right? So if we did 1.7 minus 1 minus 0.21, that gives us 0.49 n. And again, the other way we can look at it is we can just look at the markup, take away the commission. So the markup would be 0.7, take away commission, which is 0.21. So if you see right here, the 0.7, this is what we get after we take the buying price away from the selling price. So 0.7 minus the commission. Either way, our equation for that is going to be 0.49n. So whatever we buy the item for, we're going to make 0.49n profit after we pay everything back. So when we're given the buying price, it's really super easy to fill all this in. All we have to do is just substitute this in for n. So for my markup, 0.7 times n, which is 50. That's $35 for my selling price. And if you need to pause this, please feel free to do so. I'm going to kind of whip through this and talk through each part of it. You know where you need to rewind and go back and rewatch a part. So, okay, back to this. So my selling price, I can do this one of two ways. I can put this into my equation and do 1.7 times my buying price, or I can say, oh, well, I bought it for this and I marked it up for this. So I'm going to sell it for this. Either way works. My commission, that's going to be 30% of my markup. So here's my general equation. I can do 50 times 0.21 and get $10.50, or I know my commission is 30% of my markup. I know my markup's $35. Either way, I got 10.5. Okay, my profit. That's the money that I make on the sale. I can either do my markup minus my commission, which would be 35, take away 10.5, or I can put it into my equation. 0.49 times n is 50, and I get the same thing either way. So I can use my information in the chart and use my common sense about how this works, or I can just plug these values into my equations. Now it gets a little trickier when we're dealing with stuff other than our buying price, but it actually doesn't really get trickier because we have an equation. We know that my markup is equal to 0.7n. So I'm going to make this markup equals 0.7n. You guys know how to solve these. You know, if you're solving for this variable, you just divide, because it's multiplying, you do the opposite, so you divide. So 56 divided by 0.7 is 80. That means n equals 80. That means the buying price is 80. Now that I know the buying price, I can figure out the rest of this, okay? I'm not going to rework these. I'm going to help you guys with each of these three solving to get to your buying price. If you need it re-explained how you get the rest of these from the buying price, go back and watch this one with $50 and just rework this using the same steps. If I go through each part of it, this video is going to be an hour long. Okay, so in this case, we're given our selling price. So our selling price is $510, which we know is equal to 1.7n. What do? We divide. 510 divided by 1.7 gives me $300. That means n equals $300. There's my buying price. Now I can figure out all the rest of that line. This one right here, funny story. Look at this. Oh my gosh, it's going to be the same, but I'm still going to work it out just because I think it's good practice for us to see it. 1050 is my commission, which we know is equal to 0.21n. Let's divide. 1050 divided by 0.21 is $50. Hey, that matches the information that we already had up here, so that's good news, right? Okay, last one. So we have our profit. 58.80 is equal to 0.49 n. What do we do to solve for that n? We divide. If you said we divide, you're right. Which gives us $120. And then again, I'm going to go through and I'm going to just substitute 120 in for n on all of those equations, or I'm going to get my markup, and then I'm going to use that information to help me determine the rest of those. If you have made it to the end of this video and you send me an email telling me that you know my favorite candy, which is Reese's peanut butter cups, especially the dark chocolate peanut butter cups, that might be worth a small reward to you tomorrow. Have to send your email by 10 o'clock tonight. Thanks so much for watching. Good luck. Have a nice